What's up, cool kids? So I don't want to keep making the same video over and over and over again. A lot of people are trying to find any little thing to talk about on YouTube, any little thing to talk about when it comes to crypto. I mean, we're below 100,000. We talked about holding, around 94, 95K. We are holding that right now. But we talked about it. We talked about maybe being in the bear market. So we'll look at some bear market or some cycle top indicators that have not fired off. We'll also look at the liquidation heat map to see where exactly is some liquidity going, which will kind of determine or give us a little preconceived notion as to which way the market potentially might want to go in the short term. And then we'll look at the Bitcoin price and possibly do a little bit of TA, but it's really not too much TA to do. To be completely honest with you, it's really not too much TA to do. Sentiment is very bad right now. Bitcoin is below like 100,000, like I said, and we just need to start reclaiming. That's the thing. Every little bounce, if you've been watching, if you've been in the community, I've been saying, stop getting overly gullibly bullish on every little bounce. We haven't reclaimed key levels, so we'll look at that as well. So first and foremost, talk about FT White. If you're new, if you made it through that little intro rant, congratulations and welcome. Make sure you like, subscribe if you find some value, and let's jump right into it. So right now, what I'm looking at is the market cycle top indicators. Let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger. So these market cycle top indicators are some of the indicators that have fired off in the past. This cycle is completely different. The market is completely different. Some things that have happened in the past are not going to happen, have not happened, and probably never will happen again. So what I'm looking at, is some of the top indicators that I looked at in the past. Number one being the Pi cycle top indicator. We have the Pure multiple. We have the Bitcoin rainbow chart. Those are some of the things that I looked at in the past. Those have not fired off. So on CoinMarketCap, you can go under indicators and it'll have market cycle top indicators. And it's a list of about, let's see, we had about 30. None of them have fired off. Let's see if we can get this over here. Let me actually make this a little bit. So you see all these X's over here. None of them have fired off. That means none of them have fired off. No market cycle top indicators have fired off at this moment. But this still may very well be a bear market because, like I said, the market has changed. The market dynamics are different. The players are different. This is more of an institutional led cycle. It was an institutional led cycle. Retail didn't really come back like that, and I can tell you that because my phone wasn't ringing like that. I wasn't getting really too many hey, what should I buy? You know what I mean? Like last cycle, it was like my phone was going crazy, especially going into 2021 when that meme coin craze started to go on. This cycle really hasn't really didn't get too many. Got some that seen how my life has changed, and they've been watching, and they've been saying like, okay, I think maybe we should start paying a little bit more attention to this crypto. But for the most part, the worldwide retail craze really wasn't as abundant as it was last cycle. So none of these 30 that CoinMarketCap has fired off. So I look at the Pure multiple, which is if we got to the overbought area close to it, we haven't even gotten close to it. We got close. Well, we got into the red zone 2011, 2013, again in 2017. 2021, we almost got to that red overvalued zone. We didn't hit it that second time in 2021. But 2024, our peak was basically at the beginning of 2024, and then we really haven't gotten up there yet, or gotten up there again. So that's one, and then of course we have the Pi cycle top indicator when I think the 11-day moving average goes across the 350-day times 2 moving average. Is some type of calculation that has been pretty good to a T, give or take 3 or 4 days. That hasn't fired off. And then we have the rainbow chart. Every time is pretty much almost got to the red or at least got to the yellow. And we just been it's been going up, but it's been pretty stagnant or it's been pretty just flat, so that hasn't fired off as well. So if these don't fire off this cycle, we might have to throw these indicators away. So we'll continue to watch that. Like I said, before we jump into the charts, let's look at some liquidity. I like to look at liquidity before I look at the chart. So we have some liquidity coming down to about 93.5K. We have a little bit sitting at about 95,000, but above us, we do have some. We have a lot under 100,000, and then we have a little bit over 100,000, sitting at about 104. But our hot zones, I'd like to make that a little bit hotter. Let's do it like that. Are really coming in a little bit under that 90 or a little bit under that $100,000 area. That 98K level was very, very important for us to hold. We lost it, so I'm guessing there is a lot of liquidity still sitting right at that $98,000 level. But we do have some below us as well. So I mean, if we get some type of bounce, even if it's a dead cat bounce, then we'll take it. We're gonna trade. We're gonna continue to try to make money in some form or fashion. That's the thing that I did last bear market. I didn't just, of course, I was accumulating a little bit. I did buy some Bitcoin, a couple other coins that I thought were gonna do very well. Some altcoins, they didn't. A lot of them didn't. Well, I didn't buy a lot, but a few of them didn't. And then so mostly I'm pretty much focused on Bitcoin. But we did learn how to trade a lot better in the bear market. That's when I really learned how to trade, and trade with discipline and trade with precision in the bear market. So if we do, or we are in a bear market, then we'll continue to watch that. We'll continue to hone in on our skills. And if you don't want to trade, just at least try to learn the charts. Learn some of these technicals. Helps a lot. Helps a whole lot. And actually, this cycle has been a trader cycle, to be completely honest. If you've been a disciplined, risk management type of trader, you've been winning. You've been winning, man. Especially if you've been intently watching the market and seeing where the most opportunities have been, and you've been going over there and grabbing those opportunities. Then you fare well, or you just held Bitcoin. But Bitcoin holders mostly, and people who are traders who've been in and out, kind of some of them were nice swing trades, but a lot of them were rinsing and repeating. So if you've been rinsing and repeating, or if you rinse and repeated this cycle, you probably fared pretty well, especially in the later half of the cycle going into like 2025. So congratulations if you made money. It's been hard. It's been a rough cycle, and we'll continue to watch that. Last but not least, I want to talk about the charts, and I actually want to talk about where I could see a bear market dropping to and how far down we may go. So this is the final part. I'll make it pretty quick. We're almost at 7 minutes, so I want to stay under 10 minutes. So right now, like I said, Bitcoin is sitting at 95,388. We had a small little bounce. Let's actually go to the hourly. We had a small little bounce coming up to about 96 and a half. Well, really like 96.3. Then we got rejected. Right now we're coming down. It's a weekend. It's a Saturday afternoon, so liquidity is pretty low. But like I said, we looked at the liquidation heat map. We did have some liquidity zones above us, some liquidations above us. So market makers may be incentivized to go get it. And this comes in perfect confluence with our $98,000 level, which is coming in as our range low. We talked about having this range high at about 105, and this range low coming in about a little under 99,000. So that comes, like I said, in confluence with that liquidity zone that we looked at on the liquidation heat map. So quite possibly we can look at something like this. We can potentially break out of here, come up, and if this is a trade, this is actually a trade we could take. I'm going to put this probably in the Cool Kids Alpha Club. That is almost 4% trade. So that's a 4% trade that we can take. And if that does happen, hopefully we can start just creating some sort of some higher lows here. And then, just ride this trend line. So we have this, another bounce, possibly another bounce here if we meet at this point, coming in at about 96K. And then, like I said, going back up to about 90, a little under 100K, 98. We'll say 98 and a half, but it might be an emotional move to 100K, and then we may get rejected at that psychological level. I know it's a lot of traders that are going to be having stop losses or are going to have take profits at that $100,000 level. So once we breach, or if we can get back above that $100,000 level, that would be very, 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 important. That'll be important psychologically, and technically, but mostly psychologically. For most people in crypto. So if you've been watching me, or if you haven't, I'll give you a quick rundown of what I've been thinking of. I don't think the market is going to go down 75, 80%, 70, 80%. I think we'll get 50, 60% drawdown. So if we are, and I'm talking about overall from peak to trough, Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's top did come in at about 126,000. So let's say we drop down, let's say 40%. 40% will be about 70, we'll say about 70 to 75,000. And then let's go down some more. If we drop 50%, I can see 60,000. And 60,000 was what? We always look for confluence. 60,000 is a very, very, very important level, very, very, very important area that we had some trouble breaking out of. But when we broke out of it, we were off to the races. This cycle and then last cycle, this is when we had our tops. Our tops came around between 65 and 70,000. So that's a very important level. And also, if we go to my other chart, I'm thinking, let me see, is it this chart here? This was my line in the sand where we got a perfect bounce off of. This 70K area was also an area that we bounced off our macro trend line here. And if I took my macro trend line, let's actually do this. My macro trend line is actually starting. This is when I think we started the bull run. I say this pretty much every video. But this is when I think we started the bull run coming at the end of 2023. We got some bounces. And I think this was a major important level, this $70 to $75,000 area. So like I said, if we come back down, I could see us potentially, or if we are in the bear market and we're losing that and we just come down, a very emotional move down back to this level, coming in at about 75,000. Anything under that, I think, will be a gift. I mean, even if we did go down 80%, a lot of people are called like, that's crazy. We're not going down. I don't think we're going down. I don't think we're going to go below 50, to be completely honest. I don't even see below 60, and I'm not trying to make any type of predictions. We could go to 0, you know what I mean? But I'm not betting on it. That's not a probable outcome, a probable thesis of mine. So I'm looking at any opportunity to buy Bitcoin under, if we get in this mid to low 80s, high 70s, I'm looking for any opportunity to get as much Bitcoin as I can. Anything below that to me is a gift. So that's just my thoughts for this Saturday. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys are staying sane, staying solvent in this crypto market, in this wild crypto market, in this wild crypto environment. And like I say, I just keep saying, stay solvent, stay solvent, stay solvent. You can't be in the game if you don't have any money. So we're going to stay solvent. If you're trading, make sure you're taking your money quick. Make sure you're paying yourself. Make sure you're sharpening your skills. If we are in a bear market, this is the time to sharpen your skills. And we'll just continue. We'll be here. We'll be here. The Cool Kids Alpha Club, FD White. We're not going anywhere. We'll continue to make daily videos, almost daily videos, because sometimes, life be lifing. So I'll be doing other stuff. But like I said, I will not turn my back on the community. I will be here every step of the way. If you need any answers, if you need any, it's not financial advice, but if I can help, ask me a question down in the comments. Come over to the Cool Kids Alpha Club, the free Telegram. Link will be in the pinned comment. We over there pretty much every day dropping alpha. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So like I said, like, subscribe. Appreciate you for watching. Let's get to 3,000 subs. And go into 2026, with our heads held high and ready for whatever the market brings us. Because I do think, these tough times won't last too long. They won't last too long. We'll talk about that in another video. So I'll talk to you in a minute. Have a good one.